Everyone, this is Lance here, and I'm excited to bring you guys my very first video for my YouTube channel. This is a pretty big milestone for me because I have tried for a while now to scrounge up enough money to get an Elgato HD60 capture card so that I could finally start recording videos. And I feel like with all the different types of games that I play and that I own, I feel that I can bring forth a lot of good content to YouTube. And to give you guys a heads up of the kind of videos I will be doing, it will revolve around games like Dark Souls 1 through 3, every single Devil May Cry ever created, Final Fantasy. I did pick up Final Fantasy 15 the day it came out in November, so I'll be doing gameplay videos of that. The game that you see on the screen right now, For Honor. Let's see what else. I will be doing Elder Scrolls Online whenever the Morrowind DLC content gets released. I will also do, I think I might even end up getting the Ghost Recon Wildlands. So it'll be gameplay videos of that, tips and tricks, let's plays of all those games, etc. So hopefully I can bring enough videos to kind of keep you guys around. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video that I have right now. And this video will be relatively short. I wanted to give you guys, if you play For Honor, an idea of what it is that I roll with. So we'll have to go to customize and go down here. As you can see, of all the classes that you can unlock, I have only unlocked the Orochi, and he happens to be a Rep 5, level 19, and his gear score is 96, and he's got nothing but heroic gear, so he's pretty stout. My other three characters that everyone starts out with, the Vanguards, only level 2, 1, and only halfway to level 2. So if that tells you where all my playtime has been allotted to, it's the Orochi. And for good reason too. He's really, really fun to use. And if you go through the forums, any kind of community page, or even on the Xbox Live servers where you end up playing with somebody, you end up getting a lot of flack if you play as an Orochi, because apparently he's some kind of super badass character that really needs to be nerfed. But if any class on this game needs to be nerfed, it would have to be between the Peacekeeper, which is this lady right here on the knight side, or the Lawbringer from the knight side as well. And the thing about the Peacekeeper is that compared to every class on this game, she's just really agile, and it's really hard to kind of keep blocking any of your attacks. And I'm only looking at this from an Orochi perspective, because the way that Orochi's block is kind of different to, say, the Warlord from the Vikings. And I have to do the reflex blocking, which means I have to tilt the right stick in the direction that they're attacking for every attack, rather than the Warlord being able to do it just by holding the stick in the direction that they think they're going to attack from, so it'll automatically block it. But I have to do it like a split second before the attack lands for me to successfully parry it. So it's a lot more difficult for me. Maybe it's a biased view because I am looking at it from a Orochi perspective, but that's my deal and my mindset on the situation, and I'm sticking to it. So let's go ahead and go into my Orochi, and as you can see from my KDAs from all three modes, you'll see that objective modes is my lowest one, being a 3.82, and also my lowest on the win ratio. And just, it seems to be that if I ever get thrown into an online game where it's PvP and you put any kind of flag that you have to protect or an objective that you're supposed to do, I always get the people that just run out there and get killed. So it's very frustrating for me to play those kinds of modes to begin with, because a lot of friends that I know are really interested more in the deathmatch modes more so than objective modes. So it's hard for me to win at those, and if I get a really bad team on that mode, obviously I'm going to die more because there's going to be a lot more pressure on every single person, especially if we're not cohesive in the way we are acting in that game. If we're not working as a unit, we're all going to get picked off, and that's my number one grievance with this game too, is because there's more. You are, how would I say it? You are punished more heavily on this game because the game modes revolve around 1v1, 2v2, or 4v4. So if you get into a 4v4, for example, for objective modes, and you're playing Dominion, and then you get 3 other people on your team that have either never played this game before or have played this game before but don't really know how to work as a team, then people know to just pick you off one by one, and it just like really throws off the whole balance of the game, because every time you're spawning, you keep going in there and you're having to face 1 to 4 people at a single time, and just nobody is going for the objectives. They're just out there killing the soldiers that you can kill on the B or C flags, or even just trying to get that one kill, and so they strafe away from your group, and so that kind of leaves you not as well protected to kind of handle the onslaught of another group of 4 people attacking you. And that too, like, if you are on a team where nobody knows what they're doing, it puts more responsibility on those who do know what they're doing to kind of get things together, and it just gets so frustrating to have to pick up people's slack if they don't know what they're doing. Granted, it is kind of understandable if it is a person's like first time playing the game, and you can generally see that, but it's also frustrating at the same time whenever you get people who have not played this game often, if at all, and they're on your team and they're anywhere from like level 1 to level 5, and then you're going against another team that has nothing but 4th, 5th, maybe 8th or 9th like reputation already, and that the reputation is kind of similar to prestiging in Call of Duty, except this one is not as heavy. You just have to get to level 20, finish that level, and then you prestige or get a reputation point. And you don't really get any of the good gear until reputation 1 for your rare gear, which is color coded in blue, and then heroic gear on reputation 3. So let me go ahead and show you guys my loadout so I can stop ranting here. We'll start off with we'll start from top and go to bottom. So my helm, as you can see here, I have a lot of exhaustion recovery and revenge mode duration and shit all for debuff resistance. And my reasoning for all of that, starting off with the exhaustion recovery, is that I don't have a lot of stamina to begin with. The stamina is the green bar, and you'll see it deplete for every action that you do, which is attacking, rolling, or issuing a guard break with X. And the weapon that I use has very well, it's there'll be a bar on my weapon, as you'll see here. The stamina cost reduction is low, so that technically means that for every swing I end up using more stamina than as opposed to a weapon like that, or another weapon where it's actually more geared for stamina cost reduction like this one is. So one swing from this weapon is probably equal to maybe 2 or 3 from this one. So if I can have a helmet that can negate how long my character is exhausted, then that is a really big boon to how I play. Especially here I have, or actually no, we'll go to my hands first. You'll see I have a high amount of stamina regen on this one, and so that is to perfectly counteract the negative aspect of this sword here. So I can swing more, well, not necessarily swing more per se, but if I swing like 2 or 3 times, then my stamina is like damn near low, but the amount of time it takes for that stamina bar to go up is increased because of the arms here. And so that allows me to behave almost as well as another person who doesn't necessarily have a lot of stamina or stamina cost reduction. So I feel like that's a very good trade-off, to just replace the gear that I would have to just coincide with the weaknesses that I get from using this sword here. So we'll go to the chest here. Very low block damage, and on this game, if you attack somebody and they block it or parry it, then it negates the damage to a certain percentage. They still get nicked, but they don't take as much damage as they would have initially taken if they had gotten hit. So mine's really low because I don't want to rely on attacking a person and then blocking it in order to chip away at their health. I want to just land straight up attacks and just rely on guard breaking them so that I can get a full body shot. Execution health regen is relatively high. Games, I'll get a fair amount of executions per match, and so this really helps out if you and another guy are just down to the wire against each other, and then you can kill him with a heavy attack and just pull off that execute. It'll regenerate maybe a bar or two of health, and that'll make it to where if someone runs up on you immediately after you execute them, then it gives you a fighting chance to fight back against the guy who's coming after you after the fact. Going to my arms, we've already explained what I have here, why I wanted the stamina regen. The revive speed, it is important, but very rarely will you have the time to revive somebody. It does come in handy though if you're playing like elimination and a teammate of yours gets killed but not executed. Oh, if you don't already know, on this game, if you kill somebody with a light attack, they can be brought back if they are revived from a teammate. But if they get executed, then they can't come back. And the only two ways that a person cannot be brought back is if they are executed or pushed off a ledge. But if they are killed with a light attack or just set on fire or something like that, then they can be revived if a teammate stands over their body and holds B. And the amount of time that you need to revive them is heightened or decreased by the revive speed on the arms that you currently use. So mine's relatively high because sometimes it does come in handy. It's far better than handling 1 to 4 different people on your own if you can run to another person's body and revive them, especially on elimination. And here on my sword, you'll see it's more spec'd for defense, and then attack is the second highest, looking like maybe about 80-85% on the attack damage there. And then the stamina cost reduction is absolute shit. But I feel like with the way my gear's set up with my stamina regen, it can kind of negate all the bad from that weapon. So I think it's really good because the added defense helps out, especially if you're getting 1v2, 1v3, 1v4, whatever. If you're just getting wailed on, to be able to withstand a few more hits can be the difference between life and death on this game. Going to the hilt of the sword, I have the Kudo hilt. The feat cooldown reduction is the highest. Second highest is revenge gain by defense, and then the third is revenge mode defense. And I go for feat cooldown because sometimes I end up just having to go in a 1v2 or more situation, and having access to your feats is what they call on this game. Having access to them, to these abilities, can really turn the tide in a fight, especially if all odds are against you. And one specific feat that I like to use is called Arrow Storm, and I have pulled off 1v4s using this technique because it's so clutch to just bring in enemies to follow you while you have this cooldown ready to go, and then you turn around and stop and use it, and it kills most of them, if not all of them. And so the ability to use that more often than not it's really key, especially for the way that I play. We'll go down to the guard. My guard is kind of crap. I really should upgrade it, but the throw distance is the lowest and the revenge gain is the highest. And revenge gain is very important on this game too, because if you get injured enough, you can pull off a revenge, which is basically like going Super Saiyan, and it grants you a second of invulnerability if they hit you the same time that you activate that ability. In fact, if you activate revenge mode on this game and someone is hitting you at the exact same time that you activate it, then it knocks them back and it allows you to attack those that were nearby you for a second or two before they can actually stand up. So it's really handy too to have revenge gain. I know some people that don't like to rely on revenge mode to win matches, and that's totally fine, just so long as you know what you're doing. The cool thing about this game too is that you can just rely on the way that you play. You don't necessarily have to. It's not very cookie cutter in the fact that you have to run your class the same way everybody else does in order to succeed. Because I know a lot of games are like that, but this is not one of them. A lot of people I know, even if I were to get into a match right now with another Orochi, he would probably have a completely different build than I do, and probably be either better or a little bit worse, or maybe far worse. Who knows? But that's the cool thing about this game, is that it really gives you a decent way of customizing your gear and making you stand out in the fight. I do happen to have Kusanagi gear, which is the rare set for the Orochi. And I actually also have the blade for it too. Yeah, right here. And I hear that the whole set is pretty much gold with a little bit of red in it as well, as you can see on the blade here. And I hear having the whole set makes you look really badass, so I'm looking forward to the day that I can get every single one of the pieces for that set. Let's see. One thing to note too about my guard is the reason why I don't really give a damn about the throw distance on my characters, because I think out of all the characters that are on this game, the Orochi has one of the lowest, if not the absolute lowest throw distance ever. You can throw a guy, you can push someone, and it would only send them back maybe 2-3 yards, and it's not really necessary, because for other classes they can push somebody hella far, and it makes it to where they can throw an enemy off the cliff, and that too is clutch in situations where you need to kill somebody just right then and there. But for the Orochi, in order to throw them kind of far, you would need something like this guard, or maybe even let me see if I can find a higher level one. Yeah, or even the Oshiro guard to make any kind of use for your throwing ability in general. And even then, I think even with using something like this, you don't really get to throw anybody that far, because the Orochi is just not meant for that. At least from the way that I play, I have never seen an Orochi throw somebody hella far like a Conqueror or a Warlord would do. So that there is my setup, and on the very next video I will show you guys exactly how I use this in combat. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate the support.